Welcome to Spiritual Astrology. I am your host, Allison Taylor-Moseley, and today we are going to discuss the astrological energies, themes, and transits for the week of July 30 to August 5th. This week, we are entering our second week of Leo season. Venus is still in a square to Mars. Chiron will station retrograde, and the outer planets, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, are in that minor grand trine, which is supportive, flowing, supports dynamic change and manifestations, brings in assistance, help from the right people, things clicking, coming together, represents ease, flow, and alignment. And the Aquarius and Leo areas of your chart were activated last week when the nodes changed signs, with the South Node entering Leo and the North Node entering Aquarius for an 18-month stay. And that signals a shift in a new direction. But we've already been going in a new direction, right? So this nodal shift into Aquarius and Leo is just another new energy being added to the already dynamic and powerful energies that we have at play between those three outer planets. And that energy is going to be at play for the next several years. And so for these next 18 months, the nodes in Aquarius and Leo are going to be working with that dynamic energy for the rest of the year and into next year. Now, Jupiter jumped into that configuration with the outer planets last week when she got to 4 degrees Leo, and that activated what is called the basket configuration. And so this Leo season is very unique. The astrology that's at play right now, it supports new beginnings and creation and taking bold action, sharing your ideas, putting yourself out there, learning and expanding your consciousness, leaning into what is totally authentic for you and what is calling your name. And that means we have to let go of some things. And that South Node in Leo is where we are doing that. And since we are in Leo season, that brings our attention to the sun. The sun rules Leo, and the sun is about your growing consciousness. And she's shining a light on Leo this month, showing you where you can find purpose and confidence and vitality. Leo is heart-centered, so check in with what aligns with your heart, your sense of joy, your inner child, what lights you up. The sun is associated with the solar plexus chakra, which is about personal power and confidence, self-esteem, willpower, courage, motivation, discipline, independence, decision-making, healthy boundaries, and taking action. So the solar plexus answers questions like, who am I? What do I want? Do I believe in myself? Can I trust my own judgment? Can I create the life I desire? Do you have a healthy solar plexus? A healthy solar plexus means you have a healthy, balanced sense of confidence and purpose. You have self-respect. You have good leadership skills. You have a calm inner strength, the ability to say no and take personal responsibility. And you know you need to strengthen your solar plexus when your self-esteem is low, or you have a fear of failure, difficulty making decisions, maybe feeling powerless, unmotivated, or you just don't have a lot of confidence, constant self-doubt, people-pleasing, giving away your power, or maybe you just feel stuck at the moment. And those are signs to strengthen your solar plexus. And if your solar plexus is overactive, then you might be too controlling, too perfectionist, have anger, aggression, competitiveness, always needing to be right, dominating conversations, or difficulty admitting mistakes. These are energies that can come up during Leo season. And with the nodes shifting to Aquarius and Leo, it just brings even more attention to those themes. And you can balance your solar plexus by developing confidence without arrogance, acting on things instead of just planning, setting healthy boundaries and learning to say no, trusting your inner authority, taking responsibility for your choices, and turning your intentions into action. All of this Leo energy is expanded even more because we throw Jupiter and the North Node into the mix. Jupiter is with the Sun expanding your Leo house, making things bigger so you can see something and grow from it. Jupiter's here to open you up to information, to knowledge, wisdom that you didn't have before. And Jupiter in Leo will help you strengthen your leadership skills, your determination, and your desire to express yourself or create something. However, with these Leo energies encouraging us to take action on what we want, we also have the South Node in Leo showing you parts of yourself that you need to let go of, things that you've outgrown. August is when it becomes more evident what you need to release and how you're here to reinvent yourself. So it's an interesting combination of energies because you have the Leo energies calling for creation and manifestation, expressing yourself, but the South Node is there telling you to let go of something, especially those lower expressions of Leo. And that means that what you create needs to be totally authentic. It needs to come from your heart. And this calls for a healthier ego. So by strengthening your solar plexus, you can move through these energies easier, or just having awareness around when you might be slipping into those lower expressions of Leo, and that can help you during this time. And then, of course, in the Aquarius area of your chart, you're being called to lean into your vision for the future. Aquarius is ruled by Saturn, the planet of hard work, goals, accomplishments, responsibility, and Aquarius is also co-ruled by Uranus. So Aquarius is associated with two chakras, the root chakra because Saturn's grounding energy, and the third eye chakra because Uranus is associated with visions and higher wisdom, looking into the future. And all of this energy moves us into eclipse season. August is eclipse season. We have a new moon solar eclipse on August 12th at 20 degrees Leo, and a full moon lunar eclipse August 28 at 5 degrees Pisces. This week is the last week before those eclipses begin, and I'll talk about those in next week's podcast. But with all this creation energy and all this support for a new beginning and the call to put yourself out there, in a week we will experience big changes, twists, turns, endings, surprises. Eclipses work with the nodes of fate. So your Aquarius and Leo houses are where these changes are going to take place. So while we have all this energy encouraging us to go for it and move, understand that there will be changes coming up in August that require you to change the plan, evaluate something, pivot, or go in a new direction. So stay flexible. Don't get too locked into anything. If you have a clear picture in your mind of what you want, making changes is easier. If you know who you are and what you will and will not allow, these disruptions and chaos don't destabilize you as much. But the eclipses are associated with our fate and our destiny, and you may have to let go of something that you didn't expect to let go of. So stay flexible, keep your eye on the prize, still need to be in that creation energy. This Thursday, July 30th, Venus is in Virgo, still in a square to Mars and Gemini at 22 degrees. And that puts tension on our relationships, our finances, things that we want maybe being out of reach, and it can increase our irritability and our impatience. So you can feel some relationship dynamics this Thursday, July 30, but that passes. And we don't have a lot of aspects this week other than Chiron going retrograde and that dynamic Uranus-Neptune-Pluto configuration that's at play. So that alignment of those outer planets is what's directing everything. The outer planets, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, direct things because they're more powerful. They have a more powerful influence than the personal planets. The personal planets, which are Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, and Mars, they help facilitate things, move things along, carry out what those outer planets are trying to achieve. And then you have Jupiter and Saturn, They're often grouped together with the outer planets, but I've always called Jupiter and Saturn transpersonal planets. They direct your life in more obvious ways, whereas the outer planets are associated with generational movements and outcomes that feel bigger than you. So know that everything happening this week and all year is playing against the backdrop of what is manifesting in your Aquarius, Gemini, and Aries houses. Jupiter in Leo is your creative energy, your talent. Saturn in Aries is your goals and the plan. Uranus in Gemini is your higher self and future manifestations. Neptune in Aries is your spiritual self and your intuition. And Pluto in Aquarius is your soul's purpose and how you're transforming. That's a lot. There's a lot of areas of life that are being highlighted. Also this week, August 3rd and 4th, Chiron stations retrograde. Chiron stations retrograde at 0 degrees, 52 minutes Taurus. She didn't get very far into Taurus, and she will travel backwards from that 0 degrees, 52 minutes Taurus to 26 degrees Aries. So if Chiron is going to re-enter Aries and clean things up, so if you have planets or points between 26, 29 degrees Aries, all the way up to, I'd say, 1 degree Taurus, Chiron will be moving through that, visiting that area 2 more times. And then when her retrograde is over, she re-enters Taurus on April 14, 2027. And Chiron is the co-ruler of Virgo, and she's considered an asteroid or a minor planet. She represents your wounds, your insecurities, your physical and emotional pain, often when it's not your fault. Chiron also represents how we're healing those wounds. So it's not only our pain, but also the remedy. So the Chiron path is a healing journey. It's a healing path. And Chiron is often referred to as the wounded healer. The story of Chiron can help you better understand what she can activate in your life and in your Taurus house. So Chiron was a centaur, but he was not born like the other centaurs. And because of those differences, his mother asked the gods to transform her so she didn't have to raise him. So she became a tree, and Chiron was essentially abandoned at birth. And that early rejection reflects a wound that was not his fault. And that is how it manifests in your chart as well. So despite Chiron being abandoned by his mother for being different, he was raised by the other gods, and he was taught many valuable skills, including medicine. And he became a very knowledgeable and accomplished teacher, one of the greatest teachers in Greece. But one day, Hercules shot a poisonous arrow that accidentally grazed Chiron. And because he's immortal, he couldn't die, so he was just in constant pain. And he was already very skilled at medicine, so he was very determined to heal himself. And he studied and studied. He took his studies further, and that allowed him to heal more people and find more remedies. But unfortunately, he never found a remedy for himself and his suffering. And the pain eventually became so unbearable, he asked Zeus for a favor. Chiron offered to give up his immortality to Prometheus, who was being eternally punished, and Zeus agreed. And so Chiron was finally allowed to die. So, wherever you have Chiron is where you have a wound that you carry with you that always stays with you. It's a sensitive spot. It's an insecurity. It's a weakness. Could be a physical, mental, or emotional weakness or vulnerability. Everyone's pain is different. But the house and the sign will tell you more about your own Chiron journey. But for this week, locate transit Chiron at 0 degrees, 52 minutes Taurus in your chart. That's where Chiron currently is, and where she will station retrograde on August 3rd. And that Chiron in Taurus will show us new ways to heal when it goes retrograde. And Taurus is about money and our relationship to spending and things. It represents how secure we feel, how we're able to nourish and take care of ourselves and support ourselves, find leisure and pleasure and satisfaction in our lives. Now, Chiron has been there in Taurus since June 19 and will stay there until September 18 because that's when she re-enters Aries. So she's finishing up her business in the Aries house. She won't be back for 50 years. So it should feel like closure when she leaves. And that is April 14, 2027. So we've got a while. But in the short time that Chiron has been in Taurus, you've already seen some activation, because Chiron in Taurus is going to highlight weaknesses about our food and how it's grown, agriculture, how it's packaged and shipped to us. And we've already had several food recalls during this time, like lettuce in the USA. And we always have food recalls, but this was on a mass scale. And so there can be solutions for that type of thing, solutions for healthier food, for the way we grow and package it, how it's produced. This can affect agriculture and farming, the economy. Food is how we nourish ourselves. Chiron in Taurus will also highlight weaknesses around being able to support yourself and feel stable financially. The cost of everyday living expenses has risen 2.7% in June. And it is common to see inflation when Neptune is in Aries. So this is a sign of what's to come, because Chiron is going to stay in Taurus for 7 years until 2033. And when she first enters, it usually gives you a picture of what it will be about. And so we're already seeing food stuff, cost of living, and the retrograde is going to show you alternative ways to support yourself. And so you have to ask yourself, is material success my idea of happiness? What brings me pleasure and satisfaction and contentment? What's your relationship to spending? What can you do without? What's necessary? Taurus likes to simplify things and just get down to what's essential and what really matters to you. And that can bring up your values, which is a key word for Taurus. Sticking to your values and having strong boundaries builds strength and stability and peace. And knowing your values also highlights what you don't value and what you're wasting your time on and your energy and your resources. What's pulling you away from your core strength. Chiron learns to be stronger and more self-reliant in Taurus. So this retrograde is an opportunity to find new solutions, new ways to bring peace, stability, and harmony into your life. So locate 0 degrees Taurus to 26 Aries. Aries is about your self-image. What does Chiron need to take care of in Aries before going on her new journey in Taurus? Aries is a cardinal fire sign, which means she's creative, action-oriented, an initiator, passionate. So Chiron reconnects with her passion in Aries and uses that on her journey through Taurus. Aries is the beginning. It's the first step. Taurus is the builder, the one that supports the ideas and helps things manifest into reality by building a strong foundation that lasts. So what to expect this week? Expect the unexpected. Expect surprising manifestations, delightful breakthroughs, enlightenment, downloads, access to more of your personal power, because there's a lot of support for that with these outer planets aligning in the way that they are. And this is lighting up a lot of different areas of your life, so you might feel like there's big changes happening in more than one area of your life. If you are going through a transformation right now, or you're going through like a big ending and you need direction and inspiration, I do offer one-on-one readings, and we go over what's coming up in the next 12 months and beyond. I have a predictive reading called Insights and Illumination, and we discuss the upcoming year, the opportunities, the energies, and life events that you should expect. It's a 1-hour Zoom, and you receive a recording after we're done. Plus, you get a report that includes all the different phases and periods with dates and descriptions. So you can follow along all year as each phase unfolds. And my readings are in-depth, they're informative, they're positive, they're educational, they're organized, and they're easy to understand. And that can be very helpful if you want to plan out this next year, or you just want to better understand your chart and how the transits are showing up for you. So you can book that on my website, AlisonTaylorMoseley.com. I hope that this has been informative for you. I appreciate all your likes and shares and comments. I hope you have a beautiful week. And remember to stay in your power and that your vibration is a choice. So choose the vibration that aligns with what you want, who you are, who you want to be, and where you're going next. Take care.